Let's see. So we have Ginger here. I'm going to attempt to show you a couple different things. So last week, or what was it, Saturday? So a couple days ago, she was peeing. I saw the dog over there with the lady. So just as she was standing up, I called her, right? And she ran off. Ran across the street and went up to the dog on a leash. I got to her. I gave her a nice correction, walked her off on the slip lead, brought her to where I was, sat her down, and then let her go. Then that punishment thing was over. So what I did with my guys, I'm going to show you what I did with my guys. They used to not go across this thing when we were out here playing the bike path. Hey. Ooh, she's about to poop, I think. So I should not let her get away with it. Grab her, right? Because the clap is the cue. So this is your go get. You get her by the collar, and you do this in your backyard. So she has a problem not coming in the backyard, but her mom doesn't enforce the recall. She lets her get away with it. You wait for a look. Okay. That's it. And you do it every time. Right? So that's a very soft go get. Because her behavior over there wasn't that big of a deal. She got a much firmer leash correction when I got the slip lead on, because she didn't listen, right? She was maybe 10 feet away from me when I called her, and she ran to a dog that was 120 feet away, right? And she wasn't doing it right, so the runoff deserves a bigger correction, punishment, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Good girl, right? You see, she doesn't want to not come to me because I punished her the other day. She's not going to hate that dog that we saw the other day because I punished her in the vicinity of it. It's all a bunch of nonsense. So anyways, the way you can 100% prevent that is you e-collar train them, so as soon as they don't listen, boom, e-collar them. You just got to poop. We're going to do it right where we're going to work. Why don't you do it when you're way over there, dude? So the way I got my guys to not go across that, now once we built the whole more trust thing, I started letting it go, right? So now they go wherever they want. We use a long line, negative reinforcement by pulling them over and calling them to you. You reward them when they come to you. And then what I started doing is I stopped, that was to create an invisible barrier, right? Then I started, when they would get to a certain distance away from that path, I'd correct them, right? And I wouldn't say anything, because now I've taught you that this certain area I don't want you to cross, right? So as soon as you start to go across it, it's a correction. The behavior brings the correction, not my verbal. Otherwise, they become totally dependent on the verbal, which if you're always there, then it's okay. That's what I told Bella's people last night. Now, you can always say leave it if you want, but you're going to have to rely on the leave it. She's not going to never not do it. You have to let the behavior of her trying to run off to a squirrel bring the correction, right? Without you saying anything. Otherwise, you become dependent on, and I know because I'm dependent on, with a lot of this stuff that I do, I'm dependent on my physical cues because I don't leave enough space in between. But I'm cool with that. So everything is what you're cool with. What do you want and what are you cool with dealing with? So let's see if she comes. She ain't doing nothing now. Ginger! Good girl. All right. The affection is enough. I'm going to do it on her regular collar. I'm going to do this on her regular collar, not on the prong collar, just because. Now she has in her backyard, her mom put up a fence where a little, I don't know what kind of fence it is because I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's just a normal little yard fence that's not going to keep a dog out. Because she said she just jumps it. I'm like, well, you got to teach her not to jump it. All right, so we're gonna go up to the path right there, boom, and we're just gonna walk away. All right, so that was about a foot away from the path. Walk away, reward back here. Now, what I've done with counter stuff inside, when I used to be able to do stuff like that, is I would walk in between the counter and the dog, and I would just reward them. Right. So we're gonna pretend that that path is her little fence in the backyard. This is where we want to put the border, right? Good. See, so there it was one time, and she already came away. Right. So that's what I call negative reinforcement, right? This right here. You're applying pressure to make her come a certain way. The pressure comes off. Good. Now she knows I have food. She's not going to go anywhere. So now let's see if she just goes up to it. Or I can, oh, who was I going to do that with? Well, I was going to use the fake dog for with Bella. I forgot. So I'm going to try this way. Good. Let me use that stick. That's even better. That's better than throwing food. Because I don't want to correct her while I'm throwing food. Excuse you, pig. Because I use food in the food games. Right? So then the fence is there. So that, just that correction. And you can reward the, see, she turned to look back already. So, but you can reward from there as you go away. That's what some people like to do. And some people say you don't bring a positive to a negative, as in I corrected that. You then don't give food. But I feel like that's the correction at the place where I'm trying to make the barrier. Now, if I get you to disengage from it, it's rewarding the disengagement. That's how I feel. Some people would say don't do the corrections. You're just reward. So it depends on what you want to do. Right? I'm right here. Sit. Good. Break. Right? Oh, and I got to do the crossing the street. It's something else that I used to do. I did for somebody that was gonna do service training afterwards. So I got the auto stop at the street. It's kind of a silly thing. Not real practical as long as the dog stops with you, right? Good girl, right? So that time, what does she do? She wants to avoid the correction. She wants to get the reward, right? Pretty easy, right? Now, with a different dog, it's going to take a lot more than that. And say this was in her backyard, it's going to take a lot more reps of that. For one thing, because her mom hasn't enforced a bunch of rules, right? And for another thing, she's practiced jumping over the fence more. She hasn't practiced this right here. So this is kind of the first time we did it. They pick it up fast. Right, so if you do it from the start, it's much easier. So let's go do the sidewalk thing. Okay, so I'm a believer in teach what you want before you correct it, right? I'm also a believer that if you reward this behavior in itself and you never correct the unwanted behavior, when there's something else going on, you're not going to get it, right? So you're walking, you come up to whatever distance you want, good. And you reward you what you want, right? Break. That was the auto sit. Even though I had my hand in my pocket, right? Good. Break. And always break backwards. when you're trying to create a stop until your last one. Just like on stays, right? See, that really and truly is all I care about. If they stop when I stop, I don't care about an auto sit. Auto sits are stupid. If the dog wants to sit, the dog can sit. If the dog wants to stand, the dog can stand. As long as they stop. Right? She stops with me. If she sits, okay. If she doesn't, okay. Break. But anyways, just like stays, I will initially always break backwards, right? So this, you do your bunch of reps like this. Good. Right? Okay. Right? Do a bunch of reps where you're breaking backwards. If you want them to never cross, so now I'm going to do it with food, just so you can see a correction. Right? So then you have, there's something across the street, we want to stop, and she doesn't stop. Good girl. Break. Leave it. All right. Let me see if I can get it. All right, this time I'm going to try to, let's see how can I get her to not do it. All right. Okay, I'm not going to stop. Good. Right? So she got the correction because she was still going forward, even though she really wasn't. Right? So I'm going to try not stopping. Good. I'll take it, right? Let's see how many hot dogs gets her to go. Right? Good. So was it all the rewarding or the one correction? Or was it a combo of both? Let's see. Good. Good girl. So she's doing really good. Anyways, that's how you get them to stop at the crosswalk. Okay. I don't like them to get this stuff unless I say get it. But if I'm using it for corrective, what is that called? Decoy. I'm going to make sure I pick it up because I don't want her to think that I'm going to give her that. All right, so now I've broken the chain. I can come over here, give her this. We can go like this. Go ahead. Ay, windy.